Hi, I'm Darlene Carmen.
And I'm Doug Carmen.
And welcome to the show. Our guest today says he is not a gardener. He says he does not know much about plants or growing vegetables. We think he's selling himself short because there's one thing that he really knows how to do, and he's mastered it, so much so that he is known as the bulb guy. This year, Rich Santora planted over 5,000 bulbs in his half-acre garden and opened his garden for the public to enjoy. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you.
You've been inviting people for years to come to your garden. And you know, what I noticed is that there's such happy, positive energy, both from you and your garden. It's a happy, happy place. So what do you want people to walk away with when they visit you?
Well, the whole idea is I'm promoting bulb gardening. Mm-hmm. When they come, there's a couple of things. When people come in, it's like a grocery store. They come and they get what they need. That's what I always tell people. They come and they get what they need. And what I get out of it is, just joy. It's pure and simple. It's a total joy to do this. I've been doing this for 28 years. We've been showing it only for 5.
Yeah.
But in the last 5 years, we've shown it to, I don't know, thousands of people. This year was obviously our biggest year. It was something like 14.
The crowd just keeps growing. Yeah. Word of mouth, I think.
Word of mouth, and being on the front page of the Mercury News didn't hurt. We had 700 people in one day, which is phenomenal. And like the Mercury News and yourselves. You're doing bulb gardening and service. That's what I'm all about. My goal is actually, like any other hobby, is to get it to a water cooler conversation. As is, how many bulbs did you plant this year at the water cooler? What are you doing in your bulb garden? That's my goal, is to get people to enjoy. There's so much to this, the anticipation of bulb gardening. You put it in, September, October, November, December. You wait till April. The anticipation is that's one of the greatest parts about this, Doug.
And the public, they just love it. So,
yeah.
And you get all ages. And how much time do they spend? I bet they spend quite a bit of time looking at taking pictures.
I encourage picture taking. Sometimes the professional photographers, they come in and they're afraid. Actually, they think they're going to try to get away with something. I said, no, I encourage you. I want you to take pictures, put it on the internet, spread the word. That's what it's all about. Get it out there.
Well, you mentioned quickly, I just want to clarify something, that it's like a supermarket, and people come in and they get what they want from it. And you mean you don't sell bulbs and that? No, you're not selling any.
I'm not.
You don't eat them.
You don't want people to get
No, there's nothing. There's actually nothing for sale. There's never been a charge.
To the enjoyment.
I was kind of wondering about that myself. I think you don't eat the bulbs.
No, I've never tasted a bulb.
Well, you have been featured in many publications. And I wanted to show one here that we're very familiar with. It's Active Over 50. You can take a look at that.
We had the publisher on, Larry Hayes.
Yeah, he was
the guy.
A guest with us.
Yeah.
Also, and in the back here,
there you are.
There's the article, Secrets of Bulb Gardening. And you have a lot of neat advice and for people in the back.
My wife took that picture, Doug. It's kind of funny. My wife took that picture in 2008, and it was in the living section of 2009. Holly Hayes wrote an article. She's the person that actually gave me the name, the bulb guy, Holly Hayes. And they gave me credit for taking the picture. When my wife saw the picture, the very first thing she said was, "You didn't take that picture." Call them up, tell them I took the picture. I want the credit.
Yeah, really.
I just want to show a couple more, that we had here, showing that you have several publications that you're in, especially this time of year, I guess. And so, I just want to let people understand how many, plus the Mercury News. And that brings up another thing, that we got to go in there and videotape or tour your garden, like a little private tour, and interview you there. So, we like to show that clip. So if we could see the clip of our tour, that'd be neat. Here we go.
These are just beautiful. I love these colors. I'm especially drawn to that yellow and red one. What's everybody's favorite?
This is their favorite, and there's two reasons. Number one, the color. Number two, they have an aroma, which most people don't know. Tulips have aromas.
No, I didn't know that.
If you put your nose, you have to put your nose directly inside. You'll smell tangerine, orange. It's kind of a citrus aroma. And we discovered that last year by Faith Hamilton, who was sitting right beside it. She turned up, looked at her grandparents, and said, "Grandma, Grandpa, the tulips smell pretty." I've been doing this 27, 28 years, never knew that.
I didn't, but you know, there's a lot of bees here, so that does make sense, I guess. The ones behind it, the pale ones, and of course these, are all of these bulbs planted at the same time?
The tulips in the beds are planted as close together as possible, so they bloom the same time, I would say within 10 days, and in the beds. The total process of the whole backyard is basically a 5-month process, but these beds are all geared to bloom, hopefully in a nine-day period, peak at 9 days, so people can come and enjoy them all at the same time.
So even the daffodils, which are over there, the yellow daffodils, are they planted at the same time as the tulips?
They were pushed. Normal daffodils are planted October, November. Those are planted January 31st, so they also would bloom the same time as these. Otherwise, they'd be gone. They'd be long gone.
Yeah.
They'd be long gone.
Well, I was just over at Filoli, and I noticed they had daffodils as well, and yet where I am, my neighbor's daffodils are all gone. So I guess you can delay them. I didn't know that.
If you push the planting season.
Ah.
By the way, Filoli, that was my inspiration for the backyard. That's literally where that and the Iris Garden on Bird Avenue in San Jose was, I would say, between the both of those, that's how this really came about.
Iris Garden on Bird Avenue. Yeah. What's the name of that?
The Iris Garden on Bird Avenue.
So how many bulbs do you have here?
This year, 5,951. I have receipts.
Wow. Wow. So they're always grown by bulbs, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they're not always grown by bulbs. I'm glad you asked that. They are the tulips. Everything actually has a seed. Many people don't know that the tulip can be grown by a seed. And here's the pod.
Oh.
Basically what happens after the flower falls off, this pod will form. Takes about 3 months. Turns into a crispy paper. There's 3 chambers, and the seeds are in 3 chambers like a deck of cards. And they eventually will explode. And it's come November, you put them in the ground about 2 inches. And then they will eventually turn into a baby bulb, and 6 or 7 years later, you get a flower.
So I have to ask you why you would wait 7 years for a bloom when you could just plant bulbs.
Because I got nothing better to do.
How did you learn about that? I should know that everything has. I should know that.
Good question. Actually, it was again literally by mistake. I let the yard, I guess it was about 4 years ago, completely die down. And normally before I would cut off the stalk.
Yeah.
Because it's ugly looking, I would cut it off. So I would throw away, obviously, where the seed was growing.
Well, wait a minute. I did learn that. That's right. Because then the energy go back into the bulb.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. People, that's what they want you to do is cut that off so the energy goes into the bulb.
Yeah.
What had happened was 4 years ago, just because I was not lazy, but I couldn't get to it, I left them all on. And then these pods got bigger and bigger. They exploded. And when I saw the seeds on the dirt, I go, oh, maybe those are seeds. Guess what? They were seeds. So that November, I put them in the ground. And the next year, actually the next year, that's what happened. We got baby tulips. Now, that's their second year. So this is their second year.
So you have to wait 5 more years?
Yeah, I got to track those.
Doesn't anything come and eat those? I have problems with my daffodils. Something eats them. I don't know what.
No? Well, of course, now this is only their second year.
Yeah.
So, I got to protect them. I got to put them in a spot. Once they dry out, I got to put them somewhere in a cool spot so nothing gets to them.
Yeah.
Like tulip stalkers.
Yeah. Those big long things, right?
Yeah.
Now, next year, are you going to save what you have and then add? Is there going to be a new area where you're going to add something new?
All the bulbs in the beds are taken out mid-August. I have 300 clay pots. So those are dumped out. Each pot has gone through individually, save the good bulb, take these out, and then replant the pots with what bulbs are left here. Maybe tops 35%, 30, 35% are going to survive the summer. California is not good with tulip bulbs.
Really?
So this
I didn't know that.
25, somewhere 25 to 35% will last. So all these bulbs here will go in the pots over there.
Wow. So every year you start fresh?
Yes.
And
all brand new bulbs.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, now that I think of it, we did a show with Filoli, and they don't save their bulbs either.
No,
and I didn't know they weren't good in California. Things eat them and they rot, or it's too hot for them. Or?
More the heat than anything.
More the heat.
Yeah, heat gets to them, and the bugs. For instance, these two beds right here, I go through each bed to take the bulbs out, inch at a time, just to make sure I don't damage the bulbs. This bed had 2 bulbs left at a 90. For some reason, the one over there, they multiplied and had about 270. You cannot count. You can't count on it.
Well, now what about this area behind us? What is here?
These are all ranunculus. This is my kind of my ranunculus patch, and
those are seeds, right?
Yeah, no, those are they're really tubers. Ranunculus is really kind of a tuber. It's in the bulb family.
Okay.
Along with the anemones, I call them anemones, but they're really anemones.
I know this one.
This California poppy, yeah. The muscari are gone. Unfortunately, the muscari is kind of finished blooming about 2 weeks ago. This was cobalt blue, and the front here was 2 weeks ago was cobalt blue, right?
Here too, because I know the poppy seeds. I know about those seeds. They're you know.
Yeah,
so
they're
more or less fresh, but whatever wants to come up, right?
Well, the any bulbs are fresh. The California poppy, that's a seed, so that actually my problem is not getting California poppies in. It's getting them out. I mean, this whole thing is California poppies 3 weeks ago. I have to get on my hands and knees and clean this up.
Okay, that's hot. Holly Hayes. She was a writer for the Mercury. I was a big fan of hers. She was famous for growing tomatoes upside down. That's pretty cool. I always wanted to find out about how to do that. So what's your connection with her?
I was in the process of finishing the yard, the conversion in March. Holly Hayes had an article that she wrote, and she was looking for projects that people had done themselves, and a sort of a start-to-finish project, and it just so happens I had one. So I submitted the pictures, and Holly called me up and says, "Rich, you have everything right here. We're going to do an article on you. Beautiful." She did the article, and Holly Hayes is the person that gave me the name, The Bulb Guy.
Oh, now what'd she think of your garden?
Well, she loved the pictures. Unfortunately, she never actually got out here to see the garden. But she loved the pictures.
Oh, she passed away before?
Yeah, she passed away in 2011.
And that you have this memorial for her, I think that is fantastic.
If it's not for Holly, I'm not having all this fun.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful garden.
Thank you.
And sometimes you even sing to your guests.
Yes.
While you're touring. What kind of songs do you sing?
Well, they like Sinatra, Dean Martin, Bobby Darin, a little Bublé, not too much Bublé.
You just start singing, and they just like stop and check you out.
Look around, yeah.
That must surprise some of your guests.
I would think so. Maybe it would, unless they know already that you sing. I'm not sure. Well, we would love for you to sing something for us now.
I would love to do that. I'll sing my favorite song that I sing to my tulips.
Okay.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel the glow just thinking of you in the way you look tonight. Yes, you're lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you in the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Lovely, never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause I love you in the way you look tonight.
Well, now I know why your plants were so happy.
Oh,
Yeah, you
fun.
sing to them. If everybody would sing to their plants, I mean, they'd be happy.
depends on what they sing or what they say.
That's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, besides singing in your garden, which we now know that you do, where else do you perform?
Well, I sing with an orchestra called Millennium Sounds Orchestra. We're a regular at the Creekside Inn in San Jose on Elma. We're there once a month.
Once a month? What day?
It's kind of intermittent, usually the third Sunday of the month. I also sing with my sister's band, which is called Swing Solution. Both bands actually will be in the San Jose Jazz Festival this year. We were there actually last year and the year before, so it's kind of a nice feather
Coming
in the
up
cap.
pretty
Yeah,
soon,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, August 8th and 9th, I believe.
August 8th and 9th.
As far as singing, I sing the national anthem. I've had the pleasure of singing the national anthem for John Mann and Steve Mariucci at their bocce tournament the last 4 years.
So he invites you regularly to sing there?
Yeah.
4 years?
4 years so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
Pretty good.
I haven't got the call yet this year. But that's a tough song, to say the least. But a great song. An honor to be able to do that.
Wow. So how big is your band?
20 piece.
20 piece.
20 piece.
That's a pretty good sized band.
It's very big.
Is
How
that
long
your-
have you been
your-
doing
your-
that?
Is that your sister's, you said?
No.
Well, there's two. There's the Millennium Sounds
Oh,
Orchestra.
the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
who's
How long
with-
have you been singing?
Well, singing since my sister and I have been singing since we were 9 and 10 years old. We actually sang on local, the Record Hop. I don't know if you're familiar with the Record Hop back in the 60s. Frank Darien is where we started and got the bug and been singing ever since. With the big band, my sister's been singing big band for 20 years, and I've been singing with her probably the last maybe 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're so busy with the gardening and with the singing, and you have a full-time job.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where do you get all this energy? Do you think it's from the athletic training that you used to have? Or you still do?
I still do it, yeah. I still work out regularly. I do what they call a P90X, which is a pretty extreme exercise regime. Probably do it like minimum 4 times a week, and it kind of goes hand in hand.
What is that?
It's called P90X. It's an exercise regime.
Have you heard of it?
No, but yeah, you
Well,
just
we
didn't
obviously
mention
did
it.
not
There
do
was,
it.
when you said extreme, that
Scare you away?
all my sensory perception shut down.
Is that the one where you exercise intensely for a few short minutes?
That's insanity. I just started that. Yeah, I'm a little insane. Yeah, but it keeps me in shape to do the bulb gardening. It works hand in hand. Honestly, to do that amount of bulb gardening or any gardening, you got to be in shape. You simply got to be in shape.
Yeah.
And they work hand in hand.
Well, now you also in your earlier days had like training for the Olympics, or
Well, I used to race walk. Qualified for the 72 Olympic trials. That's as far as I got. Never made the Olympics.
wow, that's further than I got.
Yeah. Ran in college, etc.
Wow, so
Tons of fun. But I think you have to reinvent yourself.
yeah, well, you sure do.
Yeah, I have on the table here some.
Speaking of reinventing
These are
yourself.
things I think you were talking to us about. Yeah, you did another one of your pursuits, and I just want to quickly show. And here's one. I think you had these in several stores.
These were actually in 1976. They were in J.C. Penney's, literally side by side, the Pet Rock. I'm sure you remember the Pet Rock.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
so you put your pet rock on
You
there,
put,
huh?
put a little plant on there.
Well,
and-
these are cartoons, and you had mentioned you weren't the artist, but you collaborated with a quite well-known artist.
Yeah, at the time, this was done in 1976, but Ed Pranger was the artist, and he was a World War II, I mean, some of his art was in the Post. I mean, several pieces of his art was in the Post. I came up with the cartoons, but he literally
Concept.
did, yeah,
Mhm,
and he designed the pieces. And the actual plant stand was actually designed by a former boss of mine, Don Elijah. And originally it was just a little plaque. And he said, I got an idea for you, Rich. And actually, this was the end result. He put a little plant on there. And J.C. Penney's bought, at the time, it was like 3 gross of them. And at the time, I had only sold like 24. It was the most I'd ever sold.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And so they had this huge display. And it's
Wow.
pretty rewarding when someone are laughing at something that you dreamt up. That was a kick in the pants.
Do you have any desires to want to get that going again?
Well, we're thinking about bringing them back. You know, that's a possibility.
Do some tulip jokes and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, now
Bulb
that you're getting
jokes.
more well-known in
Mm-hmm.
in tulips and that. That's another question. You had mentioned when on a tour that it takes how many 7 years to grow a tulip from the seed
From the
to
seed,
the
yeah.
bulb,
Yeah.
and so you dig up all your bulbs, right?
Yeah.
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 I'd say about.
And you have to replace them all.
Yeah.
And you can't. Is there any reason that a bulb you can't reuse it again, or is it doesn't come out as hardy as a
There's
fresh one?
a couple of reasons, Doug. California is not nice to tulips. They just they during the summertime they just eat them up. The heat eats them up, kind of turn into rubber.
In trying to save them.
Yeah. So what I do, and then because I do this kind of showy thing, what I want is 100% participation. So that's why I take them all out, move them into pots, and then replant everything fresh. Because the bulbs are really fertilized correctly by the growers. I mean, because they have to, because they want you to
Come back and buy more.
Exactly. Come back the next year. Can I mention where I buy the bulbs? I don't know if it doesn't matter to me. I don't know if it matters to yourself.
Well, that gets quite expensive, doesn't it? I would imagine.
Yeah.
When you're talking 5,000 bulbs.
Well, back in the day when I first started, like in '85, they were like about $1.10, $1.25 each.
Wow.
But at Costco, maybe 15 cents to 20 cents a bulb. So
How far apart do you plant them?
about 4 inches.
4 inches.
Yeah, 4 inches to get the kind of look that that I like. With a dense, populous color.
Well, now you know what, and they only last about a month, right?
Yeah. Tops.
So now you show, and now you have other
Yeah, I like this. It's cool.
poppies coming up, and we got to see a tree. You said, because we had never seen, and pulling on that, a pink
Shirley poppy.
Never
poppy.
have seen
Shirley
one
poppy.
ever.
That was unique. Yeah, because
It's
that's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's large too. It's large like the red ones.
Yeah.
Pretty large.
Yeah.
And so this was after the tulips.
Yeah.
So are what you're telling me is there something always blooming?
Not always.
What about the weeds?
Well, yeah.
You told me if it bloomed, you would keep it.
If it's a weed that's got color, you get to stay. If not, you're out of there.
I like that philosophy, and I've been using that myself.
that's not funny because I'll go out and I'll see something growing in the lawn, and she'll say, "Don't you touch that."
Yeah.
If it has a blossom on it, she said, "I can't."
I'm with
touch
Darlene.
it. I want to hack it down with a lawnmower.
I've got quite a few of these. I don't know. They're like daisy things. He thinks it's from the bird seed.
Yeah, she has a bird feeder, so they
Yeah.
spread the seed around.
Probably,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
It's got a bulb.
grass, but this is daisy things, and they keep. And then I have these like little violets, but they're seasonal. But I just feel like you do. I mean, some people would go out and plant those and really try to nurture them, and mine just grows where it feels like it.
Yeah, I have one of the things I do with people. They walk through, and I grow this one particular weed. I don't know the name of it, but it's got a little blue flower. And I always get people really close to it, and I go, and I'll say, you see this? And they say, they're all the way down there. I say, you know what that is? I go, no, it's a weed.
When they're finished, when they're actually really, really finished, and you still have a little time before you're going to start the process over again. I'm really into succulents. I don't know if you like succulents, but I was thinking maybe you could have some potted succulents in the dirt area, just for something pretty that's not a weed.
Well, you know what I'll do is I'll throw some like zinnias out there, you know, and I mean a few things just to keep just to entertain myself during the summer, but I don't, you know, go bananas like with the bulbs. Simply because basically because right after April I kind of get into the music thing for the summer, because we do summer concerts.
So that keeps you busy then so you don't have to worry because your bulbs are all dead.
They're all done. They're all dead.
Your backyard's all dug up.
Quite frankly, the backyard looks like well, you know what it looks like in the summertime. It's dead.
Well, maybe I'll give you some succulents, and you can just try it.
Oh yeah, she could get you into succulents.
I love
really
succulents. They bloom. Of course, you know I paint with them.
No, but you got
that's a unique.
Yeah. Now, unlike bulbs and that succulent, they like to take over if you don't keep.
Don't listen to him. They're wonderful to have in the yard. But you know, they do multiply, and they could be in pots, and then you could move them to the patio area when the tulips are.
I'm open to succulents.
I'll give you some.
Give me some succulents.
You know, because they're kind of fun. But I'm hoping that you'll take this further next time. Well, maybe not the next time I talk to you, but you know, down the line when I talk, maybe next year. I'm thinking that we need a club. You need to start a club. I mean, you're not too busy, right?
Yeah, there isn't
start a club. Write a song about tulips.
Tiptoe through the tulips. No, that's been done.
That's been done. You can check the website for details on a little bit more information.
Yeah,
and
real simple.
Also maybe
the bulb guy.
Yeah, the bulb guy. He's just getting famous.
The bulb guy.
Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks to you.
And watching again.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But I really think this club idea would take off.
I love the idea.